Hello. Hello, Asheville. Hello, survivors. Hello, beautiful neighbors. Hello to a community who has pulled together, figured out how to live without dependable power, drinkable water, loss of a job, and schools closed for a month. And our hearts go out to the families who have lost loved ones, homes, and businesses. And we have welcomed and found relief from amazing helpers who have traveled here from all over our compassionate United States of America just to help. I am Danny McClinton, owner of the devastated Salvage Station. Talk about pulling together. For 10 years, we have competed with the Orange Peel. And tonight, I stand here on their stage proud that Tim Walz, our next vice president, who is making a second appearance here in Asheville. And if everybody remembers, his last visit was 10 days before the storm at Salvage Station. Our city in Western North Carolina may not look the same, but the open hearts of our people are as generous as never before. As our local communities have worked together, I look at it and wish Republicans, independents could work together with Democrats before our country slips into a form of government that could be more dangerous than Helene. If you have already voted, thank you. If you haven't, figure it out. I'm not a rocket science, but I figured out where to vote last week. As for Salvage Station's future, I promise you that we'll navigate this and find land again. So our team can continue to share the magic they shared with the country for the past 10 years. Now for the reason why we're here tonight. Tim Walz decided to come back to Asheville, and in my opinion, this shows how great of a person he is, and he really is genuine. What a good candidate he is, and to honor us with his presence is mind-blowing. He is a governor, a veteran, a former teacher, a coach, and like a lot of us, a father. So at this time, Let's give him a big, warm welcome to Tim Walz.
Wow. Well, hello, Asheville, again. Help me give it up one more time for American Aquarium, for these guys. It's great to be back, and it's great to see Asheville back. I want to start by thanking Danny McClinton. His wife, Katie, can't be here tonight, but the whole Salvage Station crew. Some of you who were out there on that night, my first visit to Asheville, I got the chance to visit that historic venue in September. And the whole feel of it, I got to sit in that green room in that little trailer. Some of you know where that was at back there. Just the whole vibe. And I'll never forget, we talk about on this, we've done a lot of events, but certain ones stand out. And there was drizzle in the rain, the air that night. It was raining. Started to pour a little bit, but everybody stuck around. They all stuck around. Probably a bit of foreshadowing for us, told us exactly what was happening, because in the wake of the devastation of Hurricane Helene, the community did the exact same thing. They stuck around and pulled together. First thing you did, you supported each other and you supported your neighbors. After the storm passed, Salvage Station was totally underwater. But thankfully, everybody at Salvage Station, the team was safe and accounted for. And I just heard tonight, even the stray cats that were on the place were saved too. So thank you. Salvage Station lived up to their name, because after the disaster they didn't stop helping their neighbors in this incredible recovery effort that the entire nation is watching. I want to shout out to a few folks. Incredible organizations like Beloved Asheville sprang into action. And I want to thank the folks on this campaign who turned from campaigning to lending a hand too. So I want to thank them. So. Want to thank Mayor Manheimer for her leadership under pressure and grace under pressure. As the country watched, your resiliency and your kindness showed through. It was inspiring. Our pledge to you is Kamala and I are not going to rest until you get all the support to rebuild this community. And I'll get into it a little bit more, but I want to speak to those folks around here, the help for the small businesses here and across this country to get what you need to get up and running and make sure your business thrives. And I got an opportunity, and you're almost ready for it because of all the hard work that you've done down here. I want to make a pitch to some of those folks across the country that are watching tonight. If you have never visited this American treasure of Asheville, book your tickets now and come down. Get down here. This is a treasure. The food's fantastic. You heard it tonight. The music's electric. The creativity of the River Arts District is second to none in this country. And to the folks out there in America, these small businesses need your support. Come down here and spend money. Come down here and spend money. You demonstrated it. The spirit of Asheville is the spirit of this country. Tough, tenacious, and never going down without a fight. And that's the reason on a beautiful Wednesday night, you are right here tonight for that simple reason, that simple and beautiful reason. You believe in the promise of America and love this country. Thank you. And we are prepared to fight to protect this democracy, to make sure things get done. And you might have, I don't know if any of you are paying as close attention or whatever, but we're about 6 days from an election here, folks. I'm saying this, we're going to win this thing, but I tell you what. We don't just hope we're going to win. We plan and execute to win, but I'm done. It's no longer weeks away. I'm not even going to start talking days away. Put this in your mind. We're about 150 hours away from this thing being finished. That's all right. Look, early voting in Buncombe County has already started, so we know. How many of you have voted? That warms the teacher's heart in me. You know the assignment. You know the assignment. Look, there are still, it's hard to believe, but you know them, folks still making up their mind. And I know you've heard this version of people in your life. It might be family, might be friends, might be brothers. We all know them. They might tell you this, well, look, I can't really stand Trump personally or agree with the stuff he did. And that's where you could ask and say, you mean the convictions and the cheating people out of things. You could say that. But then they go on and say this. They say, but I like his economy. I like what he did for us. Now, look, it happens to all of us. Time gets you a little bit fuzzy, and I think they might be remembering things a little bit not the way they were. So let me just refresh their memory for you. 4 years ago, our country had lost 2.7 million jobs. Unemployment was way up because Donald Trump botched the pandemic relief and botched it so badly. Do you remember? Oh, it was so good under Donald Trump. We were fighting to get toilet paper. We were trying to find to get toilet paper. So look, if you're a billionaire like Elon Musk, you did get something. You got a tax cut. And the rest of us got squat out of the deal. So look, now Trump is saying that he wants Elon to be his economy czar. Now, the thing is, Elon apparently doesn't have much of a filter. I think when you're the richest man on the planet, literally, you pretty much say whatever the hell you want to. So at least he was being honest. He said, we're probably going to have to crash the economy to save it. And this is what he said this week. Americans will have to face, and I quote, some hardships. I ask all of you, what in the hell does the richest man on the planet know about hardship? Not one damn thing. Not one damn thing. Now listen, at least they're telling the quiet stuff out loud. So Donald Trump called himself the king of debt and ran up the largest amount of debt in 4 years of any president in American history, mostly by giving tax cuts to the wealthy. But their fix, instead of having the wealthy pay their fair share, their fix, and Elon says they're going to cut $2 trillion in spending. Now, if you don't know what the national budget is, these numbers get really big. All of the discretionary spending that we get to choose adds up to about $1.6 trillion. So either Elon is as crappy at math as Donald is, or they're going to start cutting into things that aren't discretionary. And that means Social Security, Medicare, education, healthcare. Look, J.D. Vance was very clear. He said, yes, we will go after Social Security. Donald called it a Ponzi scheme. J.D. Vance said Social Security was the only thing standing in between us and fiscal sanity. Not tax cuts to billionaires, not all that, but your parents and mine, Social Security. Now, Speaker Johnson this week again, at least they're being helpful with us because you have no excuse because they're telling us what they're going to do. He said, and I quote to you, there will be no Obamacare if Trump is elected. Now, that's weird because a couple weeks ago I was in a debate and Senator Vance was standing right here and said, Donald Trump is the champion of the ACA. Donald Trump loves the ACA. And I responded, Well, why did he run on getting rid of it? Why did he sign an executive order getting rid of it? Why did he sign on to a lawsuit getting rid of it? And why did he try 60 times to overturn it? And it was only the courage of John McCain who said no to that vote. You know the old saying, if their lips are moving, you know what they're saying on this. So first of all, but look, Trump is going to say, he goes, I got a way we can pay for this. I can tell you how we can pay for these cuts and things, how we can give billionaires a tax cut. Donald's magical math, nobody else agrees with him. No experts agree with him. No economists agree with him. Donald Trump wants to add tariffs and said, well, the Chinese will pay for it. Just like Mexico paid for the wall. We know that one. But in this case, this one is much more devastating to us. It would add about 20% on everything you buy, costing each family about $4,000. Now, that's not us. He's just saying that he would do that. And we know Trump will try and get rid of the ACA. And just to be clear, I think it's important for those undecided voters or some of those folks out there who don't like Donald's personality but loves his proposals. Let them know that his big proposal on the ACA is to go back to the time. Remember, he said he had a concept of a plan? JD tried to explain it, and then I said to him, I said, you should go back to the concept because your explanation makes it worse. Because what he said is they're trying to tell you the whole thing about the ACA was expanding the care to everyone because before the ACA, insurance companies get to decide who they want to cover. And even Donald's failed business acumen would tell you this: insurance companies make money by picking and insuring the healthiest people and then making it really hard to make a claim. How many of you filled out those tons of paperwork to get a claim and, oh, you're not authorized? And you're like, well, my appendix exploded. That should be covered. And they're like, oh, I don't know. Maybe not. You know, that might be something. That's what happens in this. They want to go back and take that away from you. Now, look, Donald Trump, we are not going back. You guys, so we are not going back. Now, whether it's Donald or the people around him, they have figured something out. Donald Trump has spent the last 10 years spreading fear to divide us. Now, I say this. I taught school for quite a few years, and I supervised the lunchroom. Teachers in here know what I'm talking about. So, and you do know this. Fear is a short-term motivator for people, but it doesn't change behaviors. Now, look, he's not out there thinking 1 minute about how to make your life better. In fact, let's be very clear. Do you think Donald Trump has ever thought for a moment about anybody but himself? Now, I know, look, I'm telling you all this, and you're like, damn, I already have enough anxiety. I'm already stressed out. You know, you turn on the news, it's the polar coaster. That's my advice to you today. Get off the polar coaster. Don't, because this is all about getting folks vote. And you know, when you have anxiety about anything, the surest antidote is action on this. So in this case, you want to know how to get over that? Go vote for Kamala Harris. Go vote. It works. It works. Those of you who went and voted, it felt damn good to do it. Last Wednesday, I had just a privilege of my lifetime. I got to go vote, and I got to be accompanied by my recently turned 18-year-old son who got to cast his first vote. Look, here's the thing. Gus, he's the guy. So, look, what a privilege. We get the opportunity to not only turn the page on Donald Trump, but to elect a new generation of leadership. You saw it last night. Kamala Harris is offering a new way forward. Be clear on that. I heard someone say Kamala Harris made her closing arguments. I said, what? Kamala Harris just told you what her presidency is going to look like, and that was just the start. That was just the start. She laid out a to-do list that she's going to do as president. And right at the top, lowering costs for everyone. That's going to be her priority every day in the White House. Not tax cuts for billionaires, not retribution, not revenge, not getting rid of the ACA, none of those. She's talking about this, the first ever federal ban. 37 states have it, but the first ever federal ban on price gouging. Now, Two quick examples of price gouging. When the hurricane hit and folks were trying to get airfare out of places like Florida and elsewhere, airline prices went through the roof. That's not capitalism or free market, that's price gouging. And I'll tell you this, grocery prices gone up 25, 30% during that time, starting to come down a little bit now, seeing gas come down. But look, my farmers, when grocery prices were lower, my farmers were making $4 a bushel for corn. Grocery prices are up. My farmers are making $4 a bushel for corn. Somebody who's not growing the corn or doing the work is taking money out of the middle, and that's coming out of your pocket. That's what a price gouging law does. Look. And it is time to make our tax system fair. 100 million Americans squarely in the middle class will receive a tax cut under her proposals. And these little ones, and the little ones, the most effective anti-poverty tax cut that we do is a child tax credit, $6,000 in a child's first year of life. Extend that cap on insulin that's $35 for seniors to everybody, to make sure it's everybody. Quick price gouging lesson, $35 bottle of insulin. Before we passed that law in Minnesota, selling for up to $800. Costs them $5 to manufacture it. That's called price gouging. We'll cap it at 35 and everybody will get life-saving insulin. That's the way it works. Now, we're all learning a new term, sandwich generation that's in here. And for the young people here, trust me on this. You don't probably spend much time thinking about Medicare. When you turn 60, that's what you think about most of the time is Medicare and Social Security because it provides dignity. Kamala's talking about expanding Medicare, and the biggest thing that we have neglected for years is allowing Medicare to pay for in-home care so you don't have to spend down all your money. Makes a difference. And our seniors who pay in and work their whole life should be able to live in their home and have dignity and get that care and extend it. I think some of you in here are saying, are you kidding me? Medicare right now doesn't pay for vision and hearing? No, but it will after you elect Kamala Harris and we get this thing done. My nearly 90-year-old mom got her hearing aids a while back, and for some of you, your parents are a hell of a lot more fun when they can hear. Trust me on this. I've seen it. I've seen it. And the ability to be able to buy a home. For those of us who know what this is, this generation is being put at a disadvantage. It's difficult to get into homes. One of the reasons is, I sat on a stage with J.D. Vance. He said, well, the reason we can't buy homes is immigrants are all buying them. And I'm thinking to myself, where are they getting the money to buy it? You know, it's got to do it. You know what the real reason is? We got speculators buying them up and jacking up the prices because they trade these things. That's what they do. So we make sure that doesn't happen, and we make sure that there's a credit on the front end for a $25,000 down payment to get folks into their homes and get them started. And I want to give my proper shout out to all the small businesses, and I'll start. Can we give a round of applause too for Orange Peel for hosting us right here? Thank you. Look, to get started, give some grant credits up front and then a $50,000 tax credit. The average small business costs about $40,000 to get off the ground. We give a tax credit to make sure you get off the ground, get that first year under your belt, and have you achieve the American dream. So look, we don't have a concept of a plan. We have a damn plan, and I'm proud of it. And can I just say, and this is a good question to ask because Donald Trump's plan is going to add trillions to the national debt. They asked, how are you going to pay for this? And I said, well, a starting point would be to have Donald Trump pay his damn taxes for the first time. You tell me, 10 of the last 15 years, he hasn't paid federal tax, but he tells us every day how rich he is. How does he think we pay for our police and our teachers and our firefighters and our roads and our water treatment plants? That's what we do together. We pay our taxes. They need to be fair, and those at the top can pay their fair shares, and the middle class can thrive. Because I'll tell you what, we have a saying in Minnesota about the economy. When we all do better, we all do better. And that's what we believe. That's what we believe. Now, look, Winston Churchill had a saying about this. He said, this government the Americans have is the worst form of government except for every other one that's ever been devised. It takes work. No one said it would be perfect. But look, in this country, we used to have two functional parties. Some of you here even remember a time Republican Party added much to this. They were part of the conversation. And when they talked about freedom, they meant it. Donald Trump, on the other hand, when he talks about freedom, freedom to be in your exam room, freedom to be in your bedroom, freedom to be in your library or telling you what you should read or be able to watch. I'm telling you, everything's a confession with these guys. When they talk about censorship, it's because it's what they want to do. It's exactly what they want to do. You've heard me say this, and I'll continue to say it because I know North Carolina says it the same way Minnesota says it. Life works better if people just mind their own damn business. Leave us alone. Leave us alone. Donald, a while back, Donald went on and explained 11 times in a 30-minute interview why he was not weird. And if somebody's explaining why they're not weird, yeah. But look, I wouldn't say those things. It wasn't to like give a name or name calling. It was an observation. It is weird to obsess about other people's bedrooms. Just trust me on that. That is none of your business. Or to be obsessed with telling women how to control their own bodies and try and do things with that. Weird. Look, you saw it at the convention. I'll be damned if I'll let them lay claim to the American flag as they put Donald Trump's picture on it. They're not going to do that. And when Kamala and I and all of you talk about freedom, we mean the freedom for you to make your own healthcare decisions. That's what we mean. For our seniors to be free to retire with dignity with Social Security and Medicare. And for our little ones to be free to go to school without being shot dead in their classrooms. That's what we mean. And look for all of you on this. Don't allow them to shape this argument. I know guns. I'm a veteran. I'm a hunter. I'm a gun owner. Kamala is a gun owner. We know, and we have always upheld the Second Amendment. But we also know upholding our first responsibility is to keep our kids safe. You can do both. You can do both. I will say, both members of the Democratic ticket are gun owners, and the Republican nominee can't pass a background check to buy one. So just so you know. So for your cousins who are worried about this, let them know. But I want to spend just a minute here before we go to talk to the men in this room. I'm grateful to see you all here. Look, think about in this moment. Picture those women you love in your life: wife, partner, daughter, aunt, mother, neighbors, everyone else. And when you think about this election, the way they're seeing it and the way we need to see it is their lives are at stake in this election. Their lives are at stake. And that's not hyperbole. It's happening all across the country. When Donald Trump appointed those Supreme Court justices, who lied in their confirmation hearings about upholding Roe versus Wade? Oh, it's settled law. It's precedence. We won't do anything about it. Well, they overturned it. And Donald Trump brags about it. He is glad that those women you're thinking about in your mind right now, your loved ones, now have fewer rights than their mothers and their grandmothers had. 20 states, including North Carolina, have a Trump abortion ban. Calls them a beautiful thing. Well, here's what that description looks like. Beautiful thing. Gut-wrenching stories all across this country. Women being denied care at their emergency rooms, miscarriaging in parking lots. Survivors of rape and incest being forced to carry those terms. Fertility clinics turning couples away at the door. And I've talked about this. It's personal. This is personal on it for all of us. If you haven't gone through the hell of infertility, I guarantee you know somebody who has. And it is terrible. You're waiting for the phone calls, no luck. Time after time, the strains it puts on your families. And I'll tell you what, because my wife and I had access to insurance, and because we had fertility treatments in Minnesota, we were able to have our beautiful daughter, Hope. And she and Gus are our world. And freedom and fighting for that freedom means I will be damned if anyone is going to deny that right to have their family to someone else. So when we win this election and we hold the Senate and we take the House of Representatives, when we do that and they sign the bill to restore reproductive freedom, President Harris will sign it into law. Look, Kamala says it. We're not going back. And there's a reason we're not going back. We're not going back to a time when women's rights were taken from them. We're not going back to those times when we saw Donald Trump give tax cuts to billionaires. We're not going back to when he ignored science and put this country at risk during COVID. We're not going back on the progress that we've made, looking at things like climate change. And we're not going back on the pledge to protect our children from gun violence. We're not going back. So I'm here in these last 150 hours to respectfully, on behalf of Kamala Harris and myself, to ask you for your vote. Here's my pledge to you. When we're in the White House, we will respect the oath we swear to defend the Constitution. We'll keep some other promises to you, too. Kamala and I will treat your confidence in us as a sacred trust. A Harris-Walz administration will always seek common ground, and we will be a president and a vice president for everyone, for those who voted for us and for those who didn't. Because the plans and the proposals we're putting in place will help them and their families too. We've got 6 days to go. 6 days to go. We are joyful. We are optimistic. We have the momentum. But we take nothing for granted. So you know what time it is. You know what time it is. We are down to the end. It's a tie game. 2 minutes left on the clock. We're moving the ball down the field. We got the best quarterback in Kamala Harris. We got the right team in all of us. You may be thinking you're getting tired, but I've said it. There is plenty of time to sleep when we're dead. Now is not the time. Now is not the time. So we're marching. We're doing it a yard at a time, a phone call at a time, a door knock at a time, and one vote at a time. In North Carolina, 1 or 2 votes per precinct will be enough to turn this election, not just here, but across the country. And as you're dragging people to the polls, as you're getting them out there, and somebody will invariably say this because they've done it to them. They've told them that our politics don't matter. They told them both sides are the same. They told them to be depressed. They try and do this. Hell, they pass laws to make it hard to vote. They don't want us to go express that. And you'll have people say, I'm just sick of it. I'm not that into politics. Well, your response is too damn bad. Politics is into you. Politics is into you. So you can early vote up until November 2nd. You can register. Go find out. If you're voting in person, visit iwillvote.com/NC. Find your polling site. We got a nearest one. Go find those things. But here's the deal, folks. When in your lifetime or anyone's lifetime do we have 150 hours to impact not just the next 4 years, but the next 40 years and beyond? When do we get an opportunity on this incredible, as Kamala Harris said, the greatest nation on earth and the greatest story told, free people running and ruling themselves, not autocrats, not dictators, not one man, but collectively together in a democracy? It is a privilege to do it. We're in that moment. And as I say this, I think all of us, and I know it's kind of a North Carolina thing, you're sitting on your porch and you're in your rocking chair and your old gray hair. Some of you are already there like me, but some of you will be there. But someday, for some of you young folks, there's going to be young ones around your knee, and they are going to ask, what did you do and what happened during 2024 when you protected the Constitution and protected this democracy? And your answer is going to be every damn thing I could. Everything I could. So here's the deal. We believe in the promise of America. As Kamala says, when we fight for the next 6 days, when we vote, let's go, North Carolina.
Inherited a world that is struggling, and it's easy to feel disconnected and disillusioned.